6:15 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Lal Mallavarachi, read by Soundithavam. A study will be conducted to arrange a program to prevent floods in the Kalani River lower basin areas. The Karapitiya Teaching Hospital will be made the third national hospital in the country. A human trafficking training program is conducted for the Triforce's senior officers. Saudi offers free Hajj pilgrimage for Sri Lankan Muslims Triforce's personnel. 700 cases of dengue reported over the past 7 days. In foreign news, 4 Israeli hostages freed in raid in central Gaza. In sports, ICC T20 World Cup, Afghanistan crushed New Zealand by 84 runs in Guyana. The senior advisor to the President on National Security and Chief of the Presidential Staff, Sagala Ratnayake, says that a study will be conducted to arrange a program to prevent floods in the Kalani River low basin areas. Illegal constructions have become the major cause for flash floods in these areas. Cabinet approval will be obtained to stop and remove illegal constructions in low-lying areas close to the Kalani River banks. Sagala Ratnayake made these comments while participating on an observation tour yesterday to assess the welfare of the residents in the Kolanava area impacted by the adverse weather conditions. He further said that an allowance of 10,000 rupees will be provided to every household affected by the flood. This financial assistance is intended for cleaning the houses. Additionally, once the assessment reports on all partially and fully damaged houses and buildings are received, subsequent steps will be implemented promptly. During the tour, Sagala Ratnayake inspected the houses affected by the floods and visited a medical clinic organized at the Kolanava Sri Sambudaraja Purana Viharaya to oversee the assistance provided to the affected individuals. Following this, he participated in a discussion at the Kolanava Divisional Secretariat to assess the current progress and future initiatives of the government's relief program for the affected population. Health Minister Dr. Ramesh Pathirana says that Cabinet approval has been granted to make the Karapitiya Teaching Hospital the third national hospital in the country. It will be renamed as the Galle National Hospital in the future. Accordingly, in addition to the Colombo and Kandy National Hospitals, the Karapitiya Teaching Hospital will also be grouped as a national hospital. The minister stated this at a ceremony held at the Ratgama Sirisamana Vidyalaya in Galle today to start a health mobile service organized by the Ministry of Health. This health mobile service will identify the people who need medical attention and direct them to the relevant state health clinics in the Galle district. The Health Ministry expects to conduct such clinics island-wide to identify individuals who need special health care, he said. The armed forces play a paramount role in border security, which is vital for preventing cross-border trafficking. Furthermore, the involvement of the armed forces in rehabilitation and reintegration programs for trafficking survivors is a critical component of our comprehensive anti-trafficking strategy. Defence Secretary and Chairman of the National Anti-Human Trafficking Task Force, General Kamal Gunaratne, said so while making the opening comments at the Human Trafficking Training Program conducted for the Triforce's senior officers at the Goldface Hotel in Colombo yesterday. General Gunaratne stressed the need for collaboration between military intelligence services and other agencies for tracking and dismantling trafficking networks, and continuous vigilance and the sharing of intelligence are key to our success in this fight. The training session was conducted as an integral part of the National Strategic Action Plan to monitor and combat human trafficking in Sri Lanka for the period 2021 to 2025. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
Your next generation digital banking partner, People's Bank.
The Saudi Arabian government has offered Muslim members of the Sri Lankan Tri-Forces sponsored opportunity to perform the annual Hajj pilgrimage this year for the first time in history, according to the Defence Ministry. This comes after a request made by the State Minister of Defence, Pramita Bandara Tennekon, from the Ambassador of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Khalid Hamoud Al-Qatani. In response to the State Minister's request, the Saudi ambassador had made necessary arrangements to obtain 5 special quotas from the Saudi government, the statement said. For the first time, 5 special sponsored quotas were made available for the Muslim Triforce's personnel this year, it said. The Embassy of Sri Lanka in the Philippines, in collaboration with the Universal Wisdom Foundation, organized the exposition of the sacred relics from Sri Lanka and Vesak Day commemoration on 25th May 2024 at the Wisdom Park in New Manila, Quezon City. This is the first time in history that the sacred relics from Sri Lanka were brought to the Philippines. The sacred relics, considered to be of Gautama Buddhas, were hand-carried from Sri Lanka with the necessary approval of the Ministry of Buddha Sasana and Cultural Affairs and the Department of Archaeology by Major General Lanka Amarapala and DIGF Police Dhammika Veerasekara. The commemoration commenced with the beginning of the sacred relics to Wisdom Park, which is received by the Ambassador of Sri Lanka to the Philippines, Dr. Chanaka Talpaheva, and President of Wisdom Park Management Committee, Harish Dilshan Ananda Athauda. It was followed by a Bodhi Puja. The police said that a 54-year-old man and a 34-year-old woman died following a car accident at the railway crossing at Enderamulla this morning. The accident reportedly occurred when a car travelling from Enderamulla towards Vattala collided with a train travelling from Badulla towards Colombo while the signal lights were on at the railway crossing. The Enderamulla police are conducting further investigations. That concludes local news.
Enjoy seamless shopping. Open LCs, settle bills and transfer funds instantly, anywhere and anytime. With People's Bank Digital Solutions, you're empowered to do more, whenever and wherever you want. Unlock a world of modern banking conveniences with People's Bank, your next generation digital banking partner. People's Bank.
The main news story is brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
IMF spokesperson Julie Kozak says that there is a strong expectation that agreements with Sri Lanka's external commercial creditors consistent with the International Monetary Fund program parameters will be reached soon. Addressing a special press briefing, the director of the IMF's communications department said overall the IMF assesses that there has been sufficiently strong progress on the debt restructuring front. The authorities have been holding extensive discussions with external official creditors regarding an MOU with the Official Creditor Committee and the final agreements with the Export-Import Bank of China. Outlining future measures, Julie Kozak said the next steps on the debt restructuring are indeed to conclude negotiations with external commercial creditors and to implement agreements in principle with the official creditors. The IMF Executive Board will meet on the 12th of this month to discuss the second review and the Article 4 consultation related to Sri Lanka and came to you in the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
Moving on to Watchlight. 700 cases of dengue were reported over the past 7 days, indicating a notable uptick in the dengue outbreak. The surge in cases can be attributed to the rainy conditions and the receding flood waters, which create more mosquito breeding sites. As of yesterday, 25,619 cases have been reported in 2024, with the highest number being made in the Colombo district, which stood at 5,554. The Western Province has recorded 9,348 cases, the highest province-wise. Health authorities request the people to keep their household premises free of mosquito breeding places. As several parts in Sri Lanka have experienced a significant rainfall for the past few days, health officials urge the people to keep their surroundings clean and destroy the mosquito breeding places in order to keep dengue at bay, and came to you in Watchlight.
Coming up, World News.
Making headlines this evening, 4 Israeli hostages freed in raid in central Gaza. Danish Prime Minister suffered whiplash in street attack. NASA Earthrise astronaut dies at 90 in plane crash. 4 Israeli hostages kidnapped by Hamas from the Nova musical festival during the group's 7th October attacks have been rescued, Israel's army has announced. They were rescued in a joint complex daytime operation conducted with the Israeli Security Agency and the Israeli police from 2 separate locations in central Gaza. They are in good medical condition and have been transferred to the Sheba Tel Hamshoma Medical Center for further medical examinations, the IDF said. Denmark's Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen is said to have been left shocked and suffering whiplash after being struck by a man while walking in the center of Copenhagen. The assault took place in a square in the city's old town when a man walked up to the politician and hit her. The attacker was swiftly arrested, but there is no word yet on a motive. European Commission Chief Ursula von der Leyen called it a despicable act which goes against everything we believe in and fight for in Europe. Apollo 8 astronaut Bill Andrews, who snapped one of the most famous photographs taken in outer space, has died in a plane crash at the age of 90. Officials say a small aircraft he was flying crashed into the sea off Washington state. Anders' son Greg confirmed that his father's body was recovered last evening. Anders, who was a lunar module pilot in the Apollo 8 mission, took the iconic Earthrise photograph, one of the most memorable and inspirational images of Earth from space. Back to the headlines of the world news. 4 Israeli hostages freed in raid in central Gaza. The Danish Prime Minister suffered whiplash in street attack. And NASA Earthrise astronaut dies at 90 in plane crash. That concludes this bulletin of world news.
Development news.
The United States, the USAID, is supporting Sri Lanka's efforts to improve its investment climate by enhancing access to commercial alternative dispute resolution. This initiative has led to the US-sponsored training and accreditation of 23 international commercial mediators in Sri Lanka, doubling the number of qualified mediators in Sri Lanka capable of offering businesses a faster and less expensive alternative to traditional court litigation for resolving disputes. Under the USAID's Efficient and Effective Justice Project, these 23 mediators have undergone extensive training in key areas such as communication, problem-solving and managing emotions. That's development news. Sports news up next.
Moving on with sports news.
Afghanistan crushed New Zealand by 84 runs in Ghana to make it 2 wins from 2 at the T20 World Cup. Rahmanullah Gurbaz top scored with a blistering 80 from 56 deliveries to help Afghanistan reach 159 for 6, with fellow opener Ibrahim Zadran adding 44 from 41. In reply, the 2021 runners-up New Zealand was skittled out for just 75 in 15.2 overs to fall to their first defeat to Afghanistan in a T20 international. That's sports news. We take a look at business news next.
Go ekaktiana youth ekata life eke change ekata niyamata set wenna as wahagena dakapuhina habe karanna youth ekata niyamata set wenna friendship ekamenna.
The all-new NSB Ithru account, NSB IAM, a plan for your dream.
Business news, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
The Chefs Guild of Lanka yesterday started the Culinary Art Food Expo and the live cooking competition at the BMICH. The Korean ambassador Myeon Lee and World Association of Chefs Society's president, Chef Thomas Gugler, inaugurated the event. The event, objective titled Tea, Spice and Coconut Festival and Culinary Talent Hunt, is to promote our cuisines to the world. The event concludes tomorrow. That's business news, economic news up next.
Business news, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekaktiana youth ekata life eke change ekata niyamata set wenna as wahagena dakapuhina habe karanna youth ekata niyamata set wenna friendship ekamenna.
The all-new NSB Ithru account, NSB IAM, a plan for your dream.
On to economic news. The inflow of workers' remittances to Sri Lanka has exhibited an improvement in recent months, with the country recording an inflow of $544.4 million for May 2024. According to the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, the cumulative figure for the period from January to May 2024 is $2,624.4 million. This is an increase of 11.8% compared to the same period last year. That came to in economic news, the weather report to conclude.
Weather report.
The prevailing rainy condition in the southwestern part of the island is expected to enhance to some extent in the next few days from today. Showers will occur at times in the western, Sabragamo, northwestern, also in the southern provinces and in the Kandy and Nuwara districts. Fairly heavy showers above 50 millimeters are likely at some places in the western and Sabragamo provinces, also in Nuwara, Galle and the Matara districts. Several spells of showers will occur in the northern and north-central provinces and in the Matale district. Showers or thundershowers may occur at a few places in the Uva province and also in the Ampara and Batikler districts in the evening or night. Strong winds about 40 to 50 kilometers per hour can be expected at times over the northern, north-central, northwestern and also in the Trincomalee and Hambantota districts. To conclude this bulletin of news, a recap of the headlines. A study will be conducted to arrange a program to prevent floods in the Kalani River lower basin areas. The Karapitiya Teaching Hospital will be made the third national hospital in the country. Human trafficking training program was conducted for Triforce's senior officers. Saudi offers free Hajj pilgrimage for Sri Lankan Muslim Triforce's personnel. 700 cases of dengue were reported over the past 7 days. 4 Israeli hostages freed in raid in central Gaza. And ICC T20 World Cup, Afghanistan crushed New Zealand by 84 runs in Guyana. With that, we conclude this evening's news broadcast, and now it's back to Chandima Virakun across the glass pane. Back to you, Chandima.